G'day guys, thanks for stopping by. Today's video is just going to be part one of the table build over the back of the Pajero. Now I've gotten a fair way, I've run into some hurdles and I've got some extra stuff that I need to do. And I'll tell you what I need to do at the end of the video to get this completed and what will be coming up in part two. But for now, I'm just going to show you part of the build process. I'll give you a quick look straight up as to where I'm at the moment and what I've got done. And then I'll take you through the little things that I've done to get to this point. And then again, we'll catch up in part two and we'll finish it off. So now, in previous videos, I've put out the hand and said, you know, throw me your ideas, give me your thoughts on how to do this. And lots of people have come forth with ideas and thoughts, and thank you very much for that. Now, whilst I haven't applied some of those to the build itself, the build isn't finished, so they may come into play later on. But I want to say thanks very much. Every idea was considered. Everybody's thoughts and everybody that put something in the comments, I considered all of those and I thought about them. And then, obviously, I need to apply those to this practical situation that I've got and just what I've got to work with. The idea is to keep this as standard as possible, working with the limitations that I'm shit at timber work. And which is part of the reason why I went with this pre-made table and then kind of fitted that in to make it work. Anyway, let's give you a quick look at it and you can see where we're up to. So please keep in mind that this is still a work in progress and it is not finished, but that is the table in situ and that's what it's going to look like. I don't have the tub in at the moment. I haven't had it in because it has been raining, but you can see that is roughly what it's going to look like when it's down. We have our tablecloth hanger there, and I'm not sure whether that's going to stay because that might rattle. If it rattles, it's going. If it doesn't rattle, it can stay. We've got our bungee loops for the front here, so we've gone with those. We need to tidy up a few holes at the front, and that's our wash-up tub there. I really, at this stage, still envision getting a half-size one of these, and then the other half will be a chopping board, or I'll get a chopping board that'll cover that whole section. I'm not really sure just yet, but for now that's in there. This is how we've attached it here, and we'll talk about what they are in the video. You can get an idea of that, and they're just screwed to the side. Got our cutlery in, we need to make an adjustment there. There's our bowls and cups. I think plates are going to go up here. Now we have a little LED light, for which we had to customise some little brackets there, but again we'll cover that in the video. And this light is touch sensitive and it is dimmable as well, so you can see that there, and then of course you can turn it off. So that's bloody brilliant. We'll complete the wiring on that. Now our splashback plus windshield, this all fits on here. Been considering a double burner, which I suppose does just fit in there. It's not ideal. I was considering the double burner like this. I'm actually looking at the Colemans. I'm not sure how this one goes compared to the size of the Colemans. Now that is actually pushing that out a little bit. As you can see, that double one is a little bit tight. We can of course go with the old favourite right in the middle like that, or alternatively, rather than just one of these burners, I might, the very outside chance, go with something like that. I'm not going to do that just for my use. It goes against my philosophy of use, which is keeping it simple, one person, two people at most. I took that with me. It has to get stored in the car somewhere, and part of the reason I'm making the table is to give myself extra space. So while that is bloody great, and if I ever go do a beach run with the boys or something for the day, I'll throw that in the car and take it over and do snags for everybody. It's not the solution I want for when I go camping and forward driving. So, and then of course, if I do that, I've also got to carry a gas bottle as well. I've got a nice old 2 kilo bottle, but I'll have to find somewhere to store that, and that will have to go on the outside of the vehicle. So scratch that for now. Brings it back to this solution, which I'm okay with, but I was hoping to get away. From these. Problem is, compared to everything else, they're so cheap, and they work. They're easy to store. They're small. I don't think I can beat this. I also need to consider what goes on with this. So this needs to pack somewhere, so whether that goes with me or not, I don't know yet. Again, there's a few things here that's kind of a suck it and see. And I won't know whether I'm happy with it until I test it out in anger. But for now, this is just what's holding that table up. Yeah, touch side up. I like that thing. Probably my favourite part so far, other than the table itself. I quite like the table. So that's what she looks like folded up against. There, I have the bungee cords just pulling it up against. The tub will stay in there, but for now I need to use that bungee to hold it up. I'm just having a quick look at this table. Just trying to figure out how to mount it to the back of the door. Put something on the back of that door that's going to straighten it out. This is where this comes in. What I can do here, this section, 2 points of contact, nice decent sized screws in through there. It'll be nice and flat. Bob's your uncle. What I do need to do though is just pop this back off and have a look underneath it, just so I can see what sort of gaps are behind here. What I might consider doing is going with a Rivnut into the panel itself behind the plastic, drill a hole for a bolt to go through, and then actually bolt that piece of steel on rather than just screw it in. Okay, so you can see here, this is where the piece of metal is going to be. Right, so you can see we've got 1.5 inches, nearly 2 inches between where the actual panel is going to be and then the actual, I guess, where we're going to be mounting that piece of steel. Let's have a look at the size of the hole for an M8 versus an M6. So the size of our hole is not massive, but it's certainly a space saving. So I think I'm going to go with the 6. And while I was out looking at Kmart trying to find some, they had the collapsible tubs but nothing on the shelf. I did buy a couple of little seats and it would appear they're getting tested out. So I was actually going to do a little review on these. No, you're right, mate. Up here. Up here. I didn't actually buy him one. There you go. But these are just nice low little seats. I'll show you a little Ozito table that I got as well. So now they're actually weight rated to 80 kilos. I'm a little bit under that, but throw the dog on top and we're and we're over that 80 kilo limit. But yeah, these are rippers. I just saw these because I normally carry one of those normal camp chairs in the back, and the amount of times I use it is pretty rare. It takes up a bit of space, so I thought I might just grab a couple of these. And one of these will just live in the back of the car indefinitely. It just allows me to get that big one out, but it still gives me a chair when I pull up and if I need to stop. Anyway, we need to go and find the drill. $8.50 down at Kmart, and they're not a kids chair. They did have the kids chair beside them. They're an adult chair. It's called a low camp chair. They have a little handle on the back for hanging up or carrying. So yeah, I thought for $8.50, I'm going to snag a couple of these, and they're going to sit in the car. I didn't anticipate that that old mate here would actually sit on one. I thought it would be too small, but apparently not. If you go to Kmart and you go and buy a couple of these, just check all the connections, check all the screws down on the ground and sit on them like I did. People were looking at me like I was a weirdo. But when I did, a couple of these hadn't actually, the screw wasn't into the post, and this wasn't fixed. A little Velcro, a little piece of elastic there too. I don't know whether that's meant to go around the whole lot or not, but yeah, little handle. That's fair, great for $8. Rivnut tool, so we can remember how to use it, and use it to sort out a bolt that was missing under the bash plates under the Pajero. And I've got to tell you, it's still holding, despite everybody telling me it wouldn't. So what we've done, we drilled a hole, stuck the Rivnut in through it, and we tightened the Rivnut up. And if you're not familiar with those, what that then allows you to do is to stick a bolt in like that. So we've got one there and we've got one over here. Bugger, the longest I've got and a 6. We're going to need some longer ones. So that'd be good if I wanted to just hold the panel on. For a case of 20mm on each of those screws, each of those bolts, I'm buggered. And I don't have anything else I can work with. Till about 6 o'clock or something, I suppose, or later, and I've got to be somewhere for New Year's Eve, so yeah, probably a good thing, otherwise I'll just keep working on this. Good. Good. Okay, so we've been down to Bunnings, and as you've seen, got a whole bunch of bolts in different sizes. You can tell I'm still kind of in the designing phase as well as the creation phase. I'm kind of thinking, rather than going with the piano hinge, I just grabbed a couple of these small little hinges, and I'm thinking we're going to go with one on each end and then one in the middle. I'll grab the fourth one just in case. Just going to move some of this, just going to move you out of the rain. I'm going to continue on with this, and I'll give you an update in a sec. It's raining out here. There ain't no weather gonna beat me, son. I'm just getting stuck in. Look, I've had Jack, I'm not getting anywhere, so I figured I'm just gonna do it. So, just gonna mount these hinges on here. Certainly appears to be solid off on it. So it's still raining and I'm soaked to the bone now. I've got the hinges on the back of the table here, which is where we want to go. It was just too hard to get those tiny little screws to go into this. The point that's on those tiny little screws wouldn't work off the driver. Even the little flat head screwdriver just wasn't getting in there, so it just really wasn't working. So I had to go to a bigger, proper metal screw. Unfortunately, when I screw into that, it passes straight through this piece of metal and through the back. So what's actually going to happen is we're going to end up biting into this plastic, the panel. It's not going to go far enough into the metal because there's that clearance we talked about earlier. But it's going to go through this metal and it's probably going to bite into that plastic a little bit. I'm actually okay with that. It's going to give us a little bit of extra rigidity. I didn't want it to happen, but it is what it is. You can see there's the profile there, so that goes in a little bit. Comes back out to meet that screw, comes back out to meet that hinge there, and then goes back in for that one there. So you can see that just, I guess, lines up that door just a little bit. So far so good. That is the table in. I'm going to come up with something to hold it. I am going to remove that handle as well, so I might do that now actually. That one doesn't want to let go. There we go. And I've got to tell you, the old Bosch drill is handling all this rain. Now I'll take the handle out, but put those screws back in, so they'll be helping to hold onto that panel. I don't want to introduce any rattles. Now, that closes up much better. It is actually touching on those bowls and stuff behind, which is good. Okay, so that's good. I'm looking from inside. It's just clearing this back piece here. So from the height wise, it's as low as it can be. So what I've done is just put this bolt that you can see here, and it goes all the way through this. And I've actually situated it so it goes all the way through the aluminium and through that plastic and out the other side. So it's just a really small, I think it's probably like an M4 or something like that. That is going to allow that weight to be distributed through that whole section rather than just hanging off the side of aluminium. So it's day like, I don't know, whatever. I just want to give a quick shout out to the guys on Facebook page, and I think it's called Custom 12 Volt Camping Solutions Ideas, something along those lines. I'll put it up on the screen just here. And I'll put it down in the description below if you want to go over and join those guys. Those guys and girls over there have been fielding a whole bunch of my questions. Not so much on the technical aspects of 12 volt stuff, but they've been very handy in relation to you know, the camping and just coming up with some ideas for me. It doesn't actually meet up with this. So hinge-like locks and that sort of thing just weren't going to work there. So to my disgust, and I apologise to everybody who had all these awesome solutions. There were solutions of magnets. There was also the suggestion of some electronic struts or something like that, or even just to use gas struts. I did ponder that one for about 30 seconds. So unfortunately we're not going with the struts, whether it be hydraulic or electronic. Unfortunately, what I've had to go with is the bungees, unfortunately. So I've got a longer one and I've got a shorter one. I wanted to use something a little bit more unique, something a little bit different, yeah, something a bit cool maybe. At the end of the day, they probably are the best option, because depending on whether I've got the tub in here or not, depending on what's behind here, whether the bowls are in there, whether the plates are in there, these are variable because they stretch just that little bit, and probably just my best option. They're going to cover that gap, and we can fit those on nice and tight, so they should really hold onto that table. I just want to do something a bit different for you guys, because you know, there's been a lot of people there's been a lot of people saying, look, I'm really keen on waiting to see what you do with this, and I really don't want to disappoint. Like, I want to do something special, I want to do something unique, and I don't want to let you down. But unfortunately, I think in this instance we're going to have the basic bungees. Ute. So I need to get in behind this panel just to see what's going on in this area here, to know whether I can just screw through it and get into the metal. The other thing I need to do is get in, because I want to run some wiring in the back there, because I have some LED strips that I want to put in. This into our inverter over the back here. And good, that's that one. She's come on. So this is our touch sensitive light. So there is a little blue light there. You can't see it. We'll give you a closer look. If you touch that, it comes on. It does appear to have dimming. Yeah, beautiful. Now, whilst it's going to be hard for me to see whether that table's getting any of that light, with that there like that, I can already tell it's in the face, and I'm not liking it. If I could angle it down like that, then we're in business. Give me a minute. And we're back. Now, I can't remember why I bought these. They have these little L brackets. Now, they could certainly be screwed into that. And then I could either have it vertical like that, or what I'm thinking is I'm just going to bend those out to the right. Now, because I like to work smart and not hard, I think I could probably put those two in there and just mount that there like that. As I've done before, when I stumble on something that I like to share it. Now, there's another bloke, as Adventures, or As Ventures I think he is, local guy here in Newcastle, and he's got a Hilux or something, and he's had a canopy put onto the back of it from, I can't remember the name of the guys, but I'll put it down there. So I'm going to recommend go and have a look at Az's channel, Aaron's channel, I'm assuming it is. Go and have a look at this. He's done this canopy build. He's got some inner drive stuff in it, because I've been looking at the inner drive stuff for the back of the car. This thing is pretty sweet. Spoiler alert, the canopy alone cost him something like 23 grand. It's a shit hot install. It looks really, really good. Never going to happen in this Pajero, obviously, because it's a different style of car and I'm not forking out 23 grand. But it's a bloody good install. Go and have a look at the install of the inner drive stuff as well. It's really, really good. So on that note, I'll put a link down in the description to Aaron's channel, and you can go and have a look at that. Now, Aaron, if you're if you watch my channel or whatever, there's a few guys around here in Newcastle, four-wheel drives, all that sort of stuff, and we tend to know who's who. So if you run into me, mate, or you feel like it, and you're in the area, I notice you go up to Barrington a little bit, give us a shout, mate. Let's do a collab, let's go for a drive, let's film it, do whatever. If you're interested, mate. If you're not interested, that's all good there as well. I told you before, I've got a mate that does his walk around, does his toys, which is similar to Ronnie Dahl's modified things. He does walk arounds of the cars. It focuses on the four-wheel drive stuff. I'd be interested in getting in contact with guys, having guys get in contact and doing walkarounds, but I want to focus specifically on the electrical side. Amateur radio installs I'm really interested in. So if you've got a canopy or something like Az has got, go and have a look at his. If you've got a canopy or something like that that's got an install, DC-DC chargers, if you run lithium installs, you know, control panels, all that sort of stuff. Anything interesting, something unique, give me a shout. And certainly if you've got anything amateur radio related as far as, you know, installs and stuff like that, give me a shout as well. I'd like to walk around to your car. So my email address is going to be down below. Keep it YouTube related though if you're going to use email, but it's going to be denmonkey YT, so denmonkey YT, so for YouTube at gmail.com. So it's down below. Look, I like keeping in contact with everybody, and it's all good, and I don't mind people sending me questions and stuff directly via the email link, but it just gets too hard to get in contact with everybody. So if you want to just chit chat and all that sort of stuff, YouTube is the place to do it. That's what I monitor regularly, and that's what I keep in touch with. Try and keep the email stuff just for anybody that wants to send me stuff for the purpose of review or for content specifically for the YouTube side of things. So please don't just send me a chit chat or anything like that, because you're probably going to find I just don't have the time, and I probably won't respond. Not that I don't appreciate it, it's just I've got to manage my time. I've lost my focus recently, and I haven't been doing a lot, so right now I'm getting back in to try and focus on the channel and get stuff done. So I need to pick the battles I can win. Alright, now I need to think about doing something with you, like getting you out of the rain, because it's starting to rain again. Now I do recognise that the light isn't the greatest looking at this way with the, well, sun, whatever. But it's be the way it is. Bit of advice. Now you really need to listen to this. If you're doing something like this and you're clamping with high pressures and it's something that doesn't have a lot of tensile strength, make sure you stick your tongue in the right position when you're doing it. Because if you don't, shit can go wrong. I think we're onto a winner here. Just need to come up with something on the back of that I can screw into. Now there's another thing I want to point out, is that for the last couple of days that I've been working on this, it's been in the rain, I'm getting wet, but our table is getting wet as well. You can see how much water's on that. Let me see you do that with your timber tables. So there's a bit of timber. I used to have a heap of this in the shed, just little blocks where I'd made different projects and stuff like that. And then the other week I went through them all out. I actually burnt them, threw them into the fire pit. I thought, yeah, this is a good thing, I'm getting rid of it, like I'm trying to clean out the shed, all that sort of stuff. And now I've got cores for bits of timber. A nice little block like that would have been sweet. I had plenty of them. My advice to you is never, ever, ever, ever throw anything out of your shed. Take that to the bank. If your missus has got an issue with that, send her to talk to me. I'll run away. Clip into that. I think I've got the angle I want. This obviously will just then, we might go in the back just there. And that's not too bad. I think I can actually angle it down a little bit more. Leave that for when I'm at night and I'm actually using it for cooking and stuff like that, then I'll know how much light I need or want. I'm not going to worry about showing you the wiring up. You can all wire up 12 volt and put an inline fuse and stuff like that. I might just show you the routing of the wire, because that's the stuff that's more interesting. I really like that though. Yeah, it's good. I'm just looking at my cutlery. I think I've decided to go over this side. So I'm still kind of pondering where to put the cutlery. If you haven't seen this in the original ideas video, I got this stuff from Kmart. Basically it's just knife, fork, spoon. So I'm setting this up for 2 people, which is why you see 2 cups, 2 bowls, and going to be 2 plates there. $4, $5 or something like that. I'm going to put a better edge on that knife. I'm going to put myself a sharp cutting knife here as well. But they come with their own little holder, which they slot into. I need to bend this one out a little bit more to get that to go in, but you get the concept there. So I need to come up with the plates. You know, realistically it's not going to hurt to have the plates sitting up here, I guess. We've got that space. Worry about that later on. Tomorrow is Sunday, so I've got some stuff to organise. I'm back to work on Monday, unfortunately. So Happy New Year, everybody. Forgot to say that. We're going to leave this for now. I'm happy with where we're at and the amount of work I've got done. So there will have to be a part 2 to this. So I need to do the wiring for that LED, get in behind those 2 panels, just wire up that light. Need to bend out those spoons a little bit better, so they're going to sit in here the way I want them, but that's just a 5-minute job. Come up with some way to mount the plates. Find some utensils, some barbecue utensils, cooking utensils, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to put a fire extinguisher on the back here somewhere, so whether that's going to be inside, or whether it's going to be on that rear door, I don't know yet. I bought a cup holder. Now the idea behind the cup holder is to have that, you know, here somewhere, whatever. So rather than having to do this while I'm cooking and putting my bevy, my beer, my Pepsi, whatever the case it may be, down on the table and using that space, I want a cup holder so I can slap my drink up there like that and then maintain that cooking space. And a knife, a nice knife. That wants to be, actually that would be nice to have a knife just across here, just a real nice camp knife, pride of place right in the guts there, but that's going to be where our plates go. Anyway, so you get an idea of where we're at. So you get an idea of where we're at the moment. I'm pretty happy with the way it's come out. I'm really happy with this table. I need to tidy this up and just sort these little holes and stuff out. Maybe put a sticker or something on like that. And then maybe when I've got it all off, just for getting in and doing that wiring, I might go through and put a coat of black paint on that. I'm not entirely sure. While we're here, just to give you a tip on a few future videos that's going to come up, I'm going to stick one of these battery isolator switches on the Pajero. So there'll be like a 5-minute video on that, showing you how to just do that. Just that goes on the negative terminal. Just because I'm away from the car for so long, just want to isolate that main battery. Also spotted these little guys. So this one is actually going to go in the caravan. So for anybody that follows the channel for caravans, it's been a while since I've done anything. We're going to mount that in the seat and the bottom of the seat near the battery, just so I can just reach down and disconnect that battery whenever I need to, and certainly in a case of an emergency. So that's it, guys. That is the end of part 1 of the table build. I know I've been teasing this one for quite a long time, but it's just been a case of getting the things together and then getting the thoughts in my head of how I want to do it. As I said, I'm more of a solutions guy rather than a big picture guy, so when it comes to actually coming up with these things, this is why you'll often see me just doing this shit on the fly and just coming up with the things in my head while I'm actually working on it, going, oh yeah, that'll work. Because I'm not a big picture guy. I can't get all this stuff in my head and make a plan. I just do it, you know, seat of the pants kind of thing, and just figure it out as I go. So anyway, thanks very much for stopping by. Happy New Year, and we'll get this finished off in part 2. Cheers, guys. See you on the next one. Get your game face on. Let's do this.